In this video, I'll show you the best way to build an ebook business for beginners, even if you have no prior experience or tech skills. I'll show you how you can quickly create an ebook using a method that works, how you can sell it on a free platform with tons of existing traffic, and finally, how to promote your book and start making sales. My goal is to make this business model as simple as possible so you can stop overthinking, start taking action, and start making money. I use the same model to generate over $1.7 million for myself and also helped over 2,000 people in my programs to make money with this. If you want to learn more about my program, it's the first link in the description. And before we get started, I do have to be clear on one thing. Unlike those gurus who promises you that you can make millions overnight, I'll be honest with you that this is not a get rich quick scheme. This is a real business, and like any real business, this takes time and effort. Although the results that I share in this video is real, like I'm not lying about how much I made or how much my students are making, I cannot guarantee that you will get the same results. But a lot of people are crushing it with this, so it is possible if you do take consistent action. So with that being said, let's get right into the video. So the best ebook business model, in my opinion, is something not only any beginners can get started with, it is also something that is scalable long term. And in my opinion, the best one for that is doing a print-on-demand business. So the way print-on-demand works is that you are selling your book on a platform, but you have zero inventory, and only once you make a sale on your book, the platform prints it out and ship the book over to the customer. So we are talking about physical copy, not just ebooks, but you can also sell ebooks as well. So you can essentially sell ebooks, paperback copy, and even audiobooks if you choose the right platform. And I think this is significantly better than just sticking to selling ebooks, because oftentimes the paperback and the audio is more profitable than the ebook, although you can make a lot of money from ebooks as well. So having these different format options is, I think, the best way, as long as you do it in a print-on-demand model, because you don't want to deal with inventory, shipping and handling, even customer service, which is normally something you have to do if you try to sell a paperback copy. And with this model, you're not limited to just selling one type of book, right? You have so many options in terms of different types of books you can create. So let me give you some ideas on why you can start creating and selling. Okay, so let's start with one of the easiest option is low content books. So we are talking about journals, blank books, log books, where the interior is pretty much just like blank pages or just few text, few images here and there. So there's a lot of blank spaces. And that's why we call it low content, because it's literally low in content inside. So this is great for beginners to, get a better understanding of the business model. If you just want to dip your feet in it, kind of test it out, right? This is great to get started. And everything I say in this video, I'll back it up with real results from real books that are selling on Amazon.com. But once again, guys, just because I'm going to give you some real numbers of how much these books are making, and these numbers aren't made up, it is from a research tool that tells you the exact royalties these books are making, right? So these are real, it's not a made up number. But again, I am not guaranteeing that just because if you make the same book, you'll make the same amount. There's a lot of different factors that plays into it, but even if you make just a fraction of what these books are making, obviously that's a great starting point. So we have this book, Things I Need to Write Down Because I'm Old and I Forget Stuff. This is a funny gift notebook journal. It has a crazy simple book cover. The interior is just a blank line journal. And yet this book is making between $494 to $715 per day. That means it's doing between $15,000 to $21,000 a month. Now, this number is coming from a software called Bookbeam. Okay, it is a paid tool, so you don't have to get it, but I do have it. If you guys want to check it out, the link is in the description below. The next book is the Christian Girl Energy Journal. Once again, a very simple book cover. The interior is simple as well, and yet this book is doing $141 to $194 per day. And this is in royalties, it's not in sales, by the way. So this is actually how much you get paid in your bank account. The next type of book you can create are text-based books. So these are, traditional non-fiction, fiction books that when you think about books, you will think about these kind of books, right? So it's a standard, once again, fiction, non-fiction, how-to tutorial style books, story books for kids, those kind of things. And for this, you can obviously write the book yourself, or you can hire ghostwriters if you're not a writer. And this is actually one of my favorite types of books to create. I especially like creating nonfiction books. And the reason why is because you can sell it in multiple formats. So once again, you have the Kindle, which is an ebook version, but then you can turn that into an audiobook. They're even selling it as an audio CD, right? Which is pretty rare, but I guess it's an option, and hardcover, and you can even do paperback as well. So this book over here, this is a book on decluttering. It is doing between $1,100 to $1,700 per day in royalties. And we have another book over here, The Art of Letting Go. This is a stop overthinking book. And let me show you the audiobook, how much it's doing. So it is doing between $1,400 to $2,700 per day in just audiobooks. If I switch this over to different formats, they're also making money from different formats that's not included in this number. So this is exactly why I think selling it in multiple formats is so much better than just ebooks. But creating the ebook is the starting point of all of this. All right, the next one is design-based books. So these are, mostly activity books. So we're talking word search books, Sudoku, different types of puzzle books, even coloring books. Coloring books are super popular nowadays. And you can obviously design these yourself, or you can hire designers to create these books if you're not a good designer. So this book, the Big Word Search Puzzle Book for Adults, right? So this is a word search book, and there are different softwares that can create these word search for you, so you don't have to come up with everything from scratch, right? But this is doing $69 to $100 per day. And this is a cozy coloring book. And this book is doing between $158 to $227 per day. Now, the one negative side about these activity books is that you cannot really sell it as an ebook on Amazon, because Amazon doesn't allow you to sell something that is not compatible as an ebook in that format. So, like you cannot color in an ebook, so they don't allow you to sell it as an ebook. But you can still sell a digital download of these coloring pages on different websites, like your own website or on Etsy, and just have people print out the pages if they want to color it in. So you can still sell it as technically an ebook or a PDF, and then you can also do the paperback version on Amazon, and you can do both at the same time. So that segues into the next question pretty nicely, right? So where should we sell our books? Well, the number one recommendation for me is Amazon KDP. So this is Amazon's self-publishing platform. So anyone can sign up, anyone can start using it and start publishing your books on Amazon. It's pretty awesome. And the reason why we want to do this, which by the way, this is the funny part about all the other videos talking about like ebook businesses on YouTube, is that they always say you should sell your books on your website or, on Etsy, when literally more than 70% of all US book sales are on Amazon. So this is a chart that says 74% of all book sales are happening on Amazon. But if you sell it on Etsy, or on your own website, you're literally trying to, get market share out of these small pies when you should be just selling, at the biggest one, obviously, right? So, focus on Amazon first. And then if you still want to do Etsy, if you still want to sell it on your own website, you can do it. You can do both. But it just doesn't make sense to completely ignore data in terms of most people go to Amazon to buy books, okay? So Amazon KDP, once again, is Amazon's self-publishing platform. Anyone can sell their books on Amazon KDP. This is open in almost every single country in the world, right? There's no sign-up fee, no monthly fee, nothing. So this is a big part, is compared to Etsy, where Etsy, you have to pay listing fees and stuff. With Amazon KDP, there's no fees, except only once you make a sale, you give a portion of the sale to KDP, which is, Etsy does the same thing, but on top of that, you have to pay listing fees and stuff. And Amazon handles almost everything for you. Like if you sell your own books on your own website, you got to do everything. Like you got to do the shipping and handling, you got to do the customer service, the inventory, this and that, right? Payment processing. With KDP, they do everything for you. So a lot of other YouTube videos, after watching those videos, I noticed that they will tell you things like you have to use publishing companies, like you have to go through traditional companies like Penguin, Random House, Simon & Schuster, those kind of companies to publish your book, right? Like the self-publishing industry is growing rapidly. Like a lot of people are choosing to go through self-publishing compared to publishing companies, because with publishing companies, right, not everyone can work with them, obviously, unlike on Amazon, they accept everyone. It'll take super long going through publishing companies, like, typically 1 to maybe even more years to get your book published. You'll make significantly less royalties, and a lot of things that they do for you, you can actually do it yourself, and you can keep a way higher royalty. Next is Etsy, right? So again, a lot of people tell you to sell your book on Etsy, this and that. I don't know why Etsy is so popular, but maybe they talk about it because there's a lot of people watching videos on Etsy and, maybe the views are high or something. But I really don't think it's the best place to sell your books, because Etsy has much less traffic volume compared to Amazon. Amazon has 3.2 billion visits, right, in January 2025. So this, when I took this screenshot. And Etsy has 412 million visits in the entire month of January. So Amazon is like multiple times bigger. But on top of that, with Etsy, you have to pay a listing fee every time you upload your product, and that adds up over time. You also have to do customer service yourself. Like you have to respond to customers. If you don't do that, Etsy will penalize you, and your shop score goes down. With Amazon, you literally do zero customer service. You don't have to do any of that. You don't pay no listing fees. And also the biggest thing, once again, guys, no one goes to Etsy to buy books. They go to Etsy to buy arts and craft and stuff, right? And when I say no one, maybe I'm like generalizing it. There are some people that goes to Etsy to buy books, maybe, but most people, when they think about buying books online, they go to Amazon. And I think we can all agree to that. What about just create your own website and sell it there? Well, this is much harder for beginners because you got to figure out how to get the domain, how to do hosting, how to design your website, and how to create the funnel, copywriting, this and that. You have to do so much more thing. And this all costs money, like domain, hosting, all of this costs money. It's not that expensive, but it's still going to cost money. And it's going to cost so much time. That's the biggest thing. And you have to do everything yourself. Like even after you're done creating the website, now you have zero traffic. Like no one's going to your website. Unlike Amazon, there's millions of people every single day looking for something, right? You just show up in front of them. But with your own website, there's no one there. So now you have to try to get people to your website, and then you have to try and sell them on your product. Once you make a sale, now some of them want a refund. So now you have to like do the refund for them. They have ongoing questions, and now you have to do ongoing customer service. Like the work never ends with your website. And this is the thing. A lot of people say that, oh, with your own website, you have more control. A lot of people make it seem like more control is somehow better, when more control means there's more work, right? So as a beginner, if you are just trying to get started making money online, less work is actually better, and leveraging a third-party platform is so much easier and simpler until you gain the experience as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, right? And you're more comfortable doing more things yourself, then you can go and move on to selling on your website. But when you're just getting started, I really don't recommend. Since Amazon KDP handles basically everything for you, all you got to do is focus on the few things that you have to do, which is researching what sells and then creating a great book and then marketing that book. And because you only have to focus on the few things, you're not distracted by, oh, I got to do customer service. Oh, I got to do refund, this and that, right? So you just focus on the few things, and it's much more scalable that way. In terms of scaling, this is, what you can do to expand beyond just publishing ebooks. If you want to get to over 10K per month, once again, disclaimer, I'm not guaranteeing anything. Okay, this is not financial advice, but a lot of people are making over 10K per month, and it is definitely possible. So simply to increase your income, you can publish more and you can publish better books. So you're making more from one book, right? You can also market your books because Amazon provides a lot of traffic. You get organic sales just by being on Amazon. Yes, that's true, but you also want to supplement it with your own marketing efforts as well. So you want to do both. Now, you also want to convert your ebook into multiple income stream by turning it into a paperback book, hardcover book, audiobooks, right? I already showed you examples of that, but on top of that, you can translate your books. And now you have like a whole new book because, you can do Spanish, German, Italian, French, so much more. But just from doing those 4 languages, you turn that one ebook into 4 new books, right? So it's pretty crazy. And then now you can package those books up together into selling it as a box set, which we call these bundles. And that's a whole new book you can sell. So there's a lot of ways to monetize the existing book that you wrote. So I'm going to show you some of the student results. These are real students getting real results. But once again, just because they made this kind of money doesn't mean that you will make the same as well, right? You might make less, you might make more. Who knows? It really depends on how much, work you put into it. I also say this because YouTube is getting very strict when it comes to like these income claims. So YouTube, if you're watching this, I added these disclaimers like 3-4 times already in this video. This is definitely not financial advice. And also these are not average student results, right? This is obviously cherry picking, the good results that we got from students. So this student over here did $1,000 net profit in a single day. So this is after expenses, $1,000 net profit. This student over here did $45,000 in a month. This student did $100,000 in a month. This student did $161,000 in the first year. And this student did $1 million lifetime royalties in about 2.5 years. So those are just a few results, obviously cherry picking good results, but at the same time, we do have better results than this, right? So these aren't the best results, and we have a lot more people doing really well. So obviously I cannot guarantee anything, but these are some examples. If you're interested in learning how you can quickly create an ebook and sell it online, then I do actually have this program called the 7-Day Book Challenge. And I'll show you how you can go step by step from getting your idea to actually publishing your first book on Amazon in just 7 days. This is a step-by-step daily challenge. If you guys want to check it out, the link is in the description below. So that challenge is going to be very, very in-depth. But if you want to kind of get a good idea of how you can do this yourself, I will also show you that in this video, okay? So the biggest mistake before writing is that you are picking a topic without checking the demand. So a lot of people go from their idea into just straight up writing without actually confirming that if that idea is even good. So a lot of people create the book and then they're like, all right, who wants this book, right? That's the opposite. You want to check who wants the book first. Okay, who are buying those books on that topic, and then you go and create it. So identify what books people are buying first, okay? You don't need to be an expert. You just need to find a problem people are ready to pay to solve. The sweet spot is going to be something you are skilled at, or maybe you're knowledgeable at, or maybe you're not that knowledgeable, you're not that skilled, but you're just passionate about learning, right? Because as you learn more, you will eventually become knowledgeable and skilled either way. So that plus a market demand. When I say market demand, it's basically people actively searching for this topic. Like if there are other books on this topic already selling extremely well on Amazon, which we saw how we can check, if the book is selling or not on Amazon very easily. So if you see other books on the topic selling very, very well, then that shows that, if we create a similar book on the topic, it's probably going to sell too, provided if we do everything correctly, right? So first, you want to list problems you can solve. Like start by listing your experience, your passion, your hobbies. Just do a huge brain dump. Like, do you have experience in health, coaching, design, home organizing, just whatever, right? These are just ideas. Then write down 5 to 10 problems that you can solve. For me, some of the things that I'm interested in, passionate about, knowledgeable about, like working out, fitness, that's one. And by the way, this is another thing. You don't have to know more than everyone else in the whole world. Like I can teach about fitness, right? But I'm not the most fittest guy in the whole world. Like there are fitter people out there, but that is okay. You just have to know a little bit more than people who are paying for the information, right? So you just have to be a little bit more knowledgeable than the average. Because if you had to be the most knowledgeable person in the entire world for you to teach it, then that means there can only be one fitness instructor in the whole world, but there's like millions, right? And some of them aren't even fit. So this is my point, is you just have to know a little bit more than others for you to be able to teach it. So for me, I can do fitness. I can obviously talk about publishing books and making money from it, right? I can talk about investing. I can talk about digital nomading, because I live in a new country every couple months. Since all I need is a laptop and a Wi-Fi to work, because ebook business is amazing. It's a digital business, right? So you can go anywhere. I travel the world and I live everywhere. So I can talk about that as well. So when choosing a topic, you want to aim for specific outcome-driven topics, right? Don't just do general keywords like how to lose weight. That's a little too vague. You want to be more specific, niching down into the demographic you want to serve and also like the method. So as an example, you can do like how to lose weight with intermittent fasting for women over 40. That targets more specific people, and that'll allow you to stand out easier. Once we have the topic ideas, we want to go and validate demand. So as an example, right, if I'm checking for a topic on decluttering, if it's profitable or not, all I'm going to do is type that into Amazon, and then I'm going to find all these books, right? And you can see that these books over here, BookBeam is telling us that it's very, very profitable because of the royalties, but also you will see that this number pops up. What is this number? Well, this is called the bestsellers rank, and Amazon literally tells you how well the book is selling based on this. So if this says #1 in the bookstore, that means it's the #1 best-selling book in the entire bookstore. This is 824th best-selling book in the entire bookstore. So for this number, you want the number to be lower the better. And you want to find books on the topic that you're checking below 80,000 BSR. 80,000 is just a good benchmark to aim, because if it's doing around 80,000, then you can assume that it's probably doing around $500 a month, right? So these books are way below 80,000, and that's why it's doing way more than $500 a month. Now, since you don't have BookBeam, I'll show you how you can check this manually. Super easy. Just click on the book, scroll down, go to product details, and Amazon gives you this information right there. So it says bestsellers rank 824 in books. So once again, guys, look for books below 80,000 BSR. Once you validate that the topic is profitable, because a lot of other books were selling on it, then you can go and create your book. I have a lot of tutorial on how to create different types of books, because if I show you in this video, it's going to be, hours and hours and hours. So I'll just leave a link to these videos in the description below, starting with low content books, right? So we talked about low content books like journals and stuff. The only tools you need really are ChatGPT and Canva, and you can make it yourself if you want to. I'll leave a link to this step-by-step tutorial in the description below. Next is design-based books, right? So we have coloring books, activity books. It's not perfect, to be completely honest. Like I have this video on how to create coloring books with AI, and it is, once again, not perfect. There's some errors, this and that, but it's okay to get started with it. So you can follow this tutorial if you want to. And then activity books, a little easier because there are different softwares and you can create a pretty nice one. So I'll leave a link to both of these videos in the description below. Next is text-based books. So you can write the book yourself, right? That's option #1. You can also hire ghostwriters. So I have a tutorial on how you can hire ghostwriters, like the best ghostwriting company. So I'll leave a link to this video in the description. In terms of how to write your own book, though, if you want to do this yourself, right? First, you have to structure your book, and this is very fast and easy with AI. You also want to check the top-selling competitors in the niche to get more ideas, and then you go and create a 6 to 8 chapter outline. So this is a very quick example here. So I can just say, I am creating a book on the topic of decluttering. Please give me a detailed book outline idea of 8 chapters. So we have chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, right? So chapter 1, the hidden cost of clutter, and we have the sub-chapters as well, shifting your mindset, sub-chapters. So, these are okay as a starting point, but it's not the final thing. From here, what I recommend you do is you look at your competitors like this one, you can read sample here. And we have even more ideas, right? So chapter 1, why you need this shit now, right? And then we have a lot of sub-chapters here. And then you go through it, and you ask yourself, do I like this? Do I want to add it in my book? Like, do I think the customers will benefit from this, right? If it's an important chapter, if you think it's important, then put it in, and just replace some of the chapters that you think are kind of fluff or it's not that important. And you do this with multiple books in your, top selling competitors. And also I recommend you go and read the reviews, right? And when people say the same thing, like if you start seeing patterns of people saying, oh, I really like that the book talked about this, you should probably add it into your book. And then you can also read negative reviews and people said, oh, I really didn't like that the book was doing this, and you see patterns about that, then you should probably update that into your outline. So you got to work with it a little bit, but obviously AI makes things a lot faster. So once you do that and you have a good book outline, now it's time to start expanding the book chapters. Most books are 100 to 200 pages, but if this is your very, very first time, I get that is kind of overwhelming. So I do recommend you start with something like 50 pages just to get started, right? And then for the next book, you can do it longer and longer and longer. Make sure to add your own expertise and experience as well, because a lot of people use AI the wrong way. And I don't want people to misunderstand that I'm just teaching people to spam AI garbage, right? I really do preach using AI, but in the right way, making sure that the book is high quality. Because if you want a sustainable business that you can scale and make money long term, you do have to create a good book. But the good news is, again, you don't have to be an expert writer. You don't have to be an expert on the topic. As long as you do proper research and you know what you're doing, if you do things the right way, work with AI the right way, you can create a high quality book that gets organic 4 and 5-star reviews that people are actually happy because it's actually helping them, even if you're just a normal person, just like me, right? I'm not smart or I'm not a writer or anything. English is my second language, and yet we can do this. I consistently create books that people are happy with. So there are many different types of prompts you can do, but this is the type of prompt that I recommend. So I just said, write me chapter 1, section 1 on this, psychological effects of stress, overwhelm, and decision fatigue. That is just this section right here. So I didn't try to generate the entire chapter because then it's a little too long. And if you try to generate too much all at once with AI, oftentimes it gets repetitive, it gets too surface level. So I like to do a very, very small section at a time. And I say word count 1,000 words. Why is that? Well, if you have 8 chapters, and if each chapter has 4,000 words, that's around 32,000 words per book. And 32,000 words, if you format the book this and that, it usually comes out to around 100 to 150 pages, which is like the sweet spot. It's not too short, it's not too long, it's really a good place to be at. And since we have 4 subsections, right, or subchapters, if you do 1,000 words per subchapter, then that is 4,000 words per chapter, which again, I think is a good place. So the last thing here, avoid fluff. Make sure content is full of practical information. Obviously, this is super important. Add personal stories and real life examples to back up the point of the section. Also super important because people buy nonfiction books, not just for the information, but also the delivery of the information, right? The stories of the author, how they use that information in real life examples and stuff like that. Now, obviously these personal stories, unless you train AI on what your personal stories are, they're just going to come up with random stories. But that is okay. These are just placeholders, right? Because now you can go back and then replace these stories with your own stories if you do have it, or with your own examples or whatever you want to replace, right? Like when it comes to just citing studies and stuff, that's fine. So the main thing is you don't just generate a section and then you generate the next section and the next section without doing any edits, and then you just get the entire book, upload it, and you're done. Like, you don't want to do that. That's kind of a lazy way of doing it. And oftentimes if you just rely on AI 100%, your book is not going to be good, right? But if you go and work with AI, go back and forth, edit it after, then that is a much better way of doing so. So once you're done creating the book, now it's time to get your book cover. And this is not something you want to cheap out because people do judge a book by its cover. So having a nice book cover definitely enhances your conversion rate, right? And I do recommend you hire other people. Like, there are different Fiverr gigs that you can use for book covers. Now you can start with a $5 to $15 book cover. You don't want to just stay there. You want to slowly invest more and more. But as a starting point, I think $5, $15 is better than what you can make yourself. So it's okay. Now, make your book cover stand out from your competition, right? And high quality book cover, once again, significantly impacts your sales. So if you do want to test it out, I do have some book cover designer recommendations for each types of books. So these are for journals, planners, like low content books. It's just for $5, right? And you can work with her and she can create the cover for you. Now, if you're doing activity books like puzzle books, coloring books, this one will do it for $35 for the book cover, right? And you can work with them and go from there. Now, if you're doing nonfiction, fiction books, this is a $10 gig. I usually order the $30 one, but it's up to you. And these are some samples here. Once again, the link to all of these are in the description below. Once your book cover is ready, it's time to sign up to KDP, right? So just look up Amazon KDP on Google. You'll get to a page like this. Create your account, enter your bank account and tax details so you can get paid. All completely free, very, very straightforward. And when it comes to uploading your book, I'll leave a link to this step-by-step tutorial because this video is going to be too long and it's already very, very long. So after you're done with that, after 1 to 3 days, Amazon's going to review it, approve the book, and it'll be live on Amazon. So you'll be a published author, which is awesome, right? But from there, how do you get book sales? Well, just by being on Amazon, again, there are millions of people already buying books on Amazon. So I cannot guarantee anything, but there's a pretty good chance that you will get sales without doing anything. But these are just sales here and there, like just a couple bucks here, a couple bucks there. So it's nice, but it's not going to be life-changing income. If you want to make life-changing income where you're, quitting your job and doing all that, then you have to supplement it with your own marketing as well. So the more sales you get, Amazon pushes your book even more. So the more organic sales you get as well, right? So the more sales you get yourself, the more organic sales that you get as well. And that's why it goes hand in hand. So how do you get sales yourself? Well, you can run Amazon ads. This is by far the most effective and cheapest way to market your books. You can start with as low as $3 a day, and you only want to increase the budget if you're profiting, right? So it's not like you got to start with $100 a day or anything like that. Again, the step-by-step tutorial is in the description below. If you don't want to spend any money on ads, you can also do social media marketing. Like, start by posting videos on TikTok, Instagram, post simple videos, like showing the book cover, reading a single page, book flipping, those kind of things. Like these ones, just like talking about your book. This video got 10 million views, made the author so much money, right? So again, I'm not saying, every video is going to make 10 million views or anything like that, but it's about testing different things, consistently posting, and that is how you can market your books for free. All right, so that was pretty much the overview of this entire business model. Hopefully that was helpful. Hopefully it showed you that, creating an ebook and selling it on your own website is not the only way, or selling it on Etsy is not the only way. There's actually a better way, in my opinion. I think you make way more money. I think it's way more simple this way and way, way more practical than doing it like how other people are teaching it, right? So if you want to follow this video and test it out, then feel free to do so. If you do see potential in this business, if you like my teaching style and if you want to work with our team, then I do have a complete Amazon KDP coaching program. It's not just a course, it's heavily focused on active coaching. So like one-on-one coaching, group coaching, those kind of things. If you want to learn more, it's the first link in the description below. You can apply for a free 30-minute strategy session and see if this program is a good fit for you. To be completely honest, we don't work with everyone. We actually got a pretty strict criteria. So you might get rejected, to be honest, like when you apply. And I'm sorry if you do get rejected, but if you do manage to make it inside the program, then it is a great program. We have amazing reviews and I'll be excited to work with you. If that's too soon of a step, then obviously you can just keep watching my other videos. It's not as detailed as my actual paid program, but my YouTube video, I think, as you can see from this video, is pretty in-depth, so you can go and watch it. I got a lot of tutorials, and a lot of people say that just by following my videos, they're making money from KDP. I've never heard of anyone making like tens of thousands of dollars just by watching my videos, but I get comments of people saying, oh, I made like a couple $100 or a couple $1,000, right? So, maybe that's possible, and then maybe you can come back and join the program later. Although, of course, if you want to avoid the mistakes, if you want to save some time, getting coaching from the beginning is probably the best way, but I am not here to pressure anybody into doing anything they don't want. So I'll leave that up to you. But with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you made it until the end, please comment ebook to let me know that you made it until the end. And if you have any questions, I'll try to respond to it as much as possible. Leave a like, subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.